Welcome to another Hips News broadcast. We're your guide. This is Vessel 1,
Vessel 2.
and we're here to bring you
has eased
Hips
its
News.
travel advisory for Japan by one notch, but is still urging people to reconsider traveling there due to the coronavirus situation in the country.
Tokyo Reporter, they always seem to come through. And it didn't surprise me, but the headline goes, Ibaraki Health Center warns many coronavirus patients infected by foreigners. I was like, oh, okay, there it is. It said, it's advised if you talk to a foreigner, wear a mask as well. Please do not eat with them. Oh, wow.
It says that.
It said it, yeah. This is coming from a health center in Itako City.
Itako City.
Ibaraki, yeah. The health center. Well, it's like, oh, wow, okay.
How many foreigners live up around there?
I have no idea the foreign population, but it didn't give any numbers as far as how many coronavirus cases they've had. It just said that, let's see, it says a health center in Itako City this week retracted an inappropriate advisory that stated foreigners are the source of an increase in novel coronavirus infections, reported May 22nd.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it distributed the email to agricultural cooperatives and city halls within its jurisdiction. So there was an email that went out. And it said the document stated there are many coronavirus patients likely affected by foreigners. Isn't that nice?
Wow. That's kind of interesting, coming from the fact that Ibaraki is talking about don't speak to foreigners or don't have lunch with them, and stay covered. It makes me wonder if the people in Ibaraki or the foreigners that live in Ibaraki are they Pacific area, Pacific country, or something of that nature. Are they mostly Indians that live there, or maybe from Malaysia or somewhere. The Olympic scenario, they still trying to figure out what they're gonna do with the Olympics, and that who's going to get the vaccinations, and will they go or continue the Olympic situation. And this is something that's been highly talked about.
I seen something also that they were talking about. They're trying to vaccinate all of their athletes here.
Right. And that doesn't speak about the athletes that's supposed to come to Japan for the Olympics. And that's the question. What's going to happen to those people? Will they all be vaccinated? Do they need to be vaccinated?
I would imagine they're going to get vaccinated, the ones that do come.
Kind of interesting. We will see. Keep it in the spotlight. Also, another thing that when he was talking about the Japan opens large-scale coronavirus vaccination centers, and they was even talking about having some pharmacies do the same thing, like in America. But they said that they need these pharmacies or pharmaceutical stores. They have to go through some type of training, which made me laugh.
They got dentists giving shots now.
See, there you go. A dentist, right? Ooh.
They're good with needles. They have to give shots in the mouth. So if they can inject you in your mouth, then I'm pretty sure they can inject you in your arm.
Oh, yeah.
The organizers of the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics have been studying the impact COVID-19 could have on participants. They've released a worst-case scenario that has 7 infections per day and dozens asked to self-quarantine. The organizing committee at the Tokyo Metropolitan Government assumed that about 77,000 people would take part in the Games, including athletes and staff. Their projections include a peak day with 1 athlete and 10 staff being hospitalized and 57 people asked to self-quarantine. The organizers say they will use the estimates to secure medical services for the Games. And they say they didn't consider vaccinations when compiling their assessment, so the real numbers could be much lower. On Friday, the government's top coronavirus advisor expressed concern that the Games could trigger another spike in new cases. He warned that if the organizers decide to go ahead with the Games, they should ensure they have the public's cooperation.
Well, Hips News would like to know what the people out in Japan think about the situation. Let's take a couple of calls. Caller, how do you feel?
Anyway, how are you?
Things are going well. I can't complain. I mean, other than that, Japan is trying to get everyone vaccinated and roll out for this. They're really rushing for this. No pun intended, Russian. But they're really panicking and scrambling, trying to get this Olympic thing together.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's really mad.
It's more than mad. It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just doing it for the television, aren't they? It's nothing to do with people of Japan. Yeah, at the moment, most people want to go back to normal as fast as possible, but it's still not safe. So I still can't travel to Japan.
Wow.
Because this country's considered to be a risky country. So
it's
coming from England,
it's
mad.
risk. It's a risk all over. You have a good one.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah, and I thought it would be interesting for me to kind of jump into your podcast, or however you call it, is because I thought I have you could say a multicultural aspect in a way,
Right.
Be opinionated on some stuff, and being part of Japanese and maybe half not, or because I'm half Japanese and Taiwanese, right? But
Right.
then at the same time, I was pretty much, I grew up in the States the longest before that, international schools. So yeah, it's you could say it's another totally different background,
So a different aspect of or a different view of what's going on. Yeah, I totally agree. And thank you. Thank you, caller, and welcome to Hips News. And I got a question. The question is, do you feel that Japan should continue to proceed with the Olympics, or how do you feel about that?
Honestly speaking, I honestly think they should, they should not continue. I mean, I just don't understand why they proceed to, even with all this, pandemic still going around. And I have to say, Japan did a poor job on containing the virus, to be honest. Because the way how government and the country itself acted, I don't see any coherence between the government and the other prefectures government. And I think I honestly think they could have contained better if they have transparency, and if they have communicated well. Because if you look at other countries, I don't know, for example, Taiwan, they had strict discipline about this, and they were, until now, they were fine this whole year, with all their measurement and stuff. But back to the point, so Olympics should not be continued, and, it's still not contained, and there's, I see more risk than, ever from the Olympic, because, that's where people gather. And even though they're trying to, because I know Japan, they're trying to open it, proceed it no matter what,
Right.
just with like restrictions and stuff. I mean, okay, but I just don't see, I just don't see how it's effective if you're actually going to like contain the whole virus or the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should just whatchamacallit, just like not basically do the Olympics and just contain and control the situation first, or else it's gonna spread anyways, right?
Okay. Yeah. Safety should be priority when dealing. Yeah, I agree with that. Fukushima and this contaminated water situation. What's going on with that?
Last I heard, they were in talks about dispersing the water from the power plants into the ocean.
Right.
And I didn't catch whether or not they finally, what was their final conclusion. I don't know if they either are already pumping it into the ocean or they're still debating it. I'm not sure.
Well, it's still up for, not debate. It's still up for a couple more negotiation process, because they have to. China and also Korea is complaining this is not only Japan's ocean that they're contaminating. What about the surrounding countries? This is the big dilemma and questions that they're asking. Their reply, they're saying that there is up to code and standards, and that they already diluted the nuclear rods, and that they will dilute them again before releasing in the ocean. Their biggest worry is uranium. So there's still uranium deposits or contaminants that still resin in the water. So this is a big concern, because is it diluted enough? Is it up to they keep asking about the standards. So yeah.
Yeah, they're on the verge of making Godzilla.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't come to pass.
They made enough moves about it. They might as well make the real thing.
Well, yeah, you kind of wonder that they're making the movies. Has Hollywood, Bollywood, or any other theatrical facilities that create movies, are they actually trying to bring their movies into existence? Godzilla, King Kong, Frankenstein, zombies. All these things are, seem like it's coming to pass. They're making clones. You got, trying to make super soldier serums or X-Men changing DNA. So all these things are all in question.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the Fukushima power plant incident, it's still a big question mark over that. And it's strange how that problem is going on 10 years now, but yet they haven't been able to solve that issue. And for the last 3 years, the only thing they've been concerned about is the Olympics. But it's no real, there hasn't been any real news about how safe is, for one, Fukushima, and then the surrounding areas. And it's almost every earthquake that's happening now
Right.
is happening in that area.
Right. It's still going on. You're right about that.
But we just had an earthquake up there last week, I think.
That's right. Last week it was.
Saturday there was an earthquake.
Yeah, it was an earthquake Saturday. Exactly.
So I really don't. I mean, I understand everything is surface here, and as long as it looks good and polished, it should be taken that way. But under the surface, things ain't really cracked up to what they should be. So all of this is going to have to come out to light. It's been kept in the dark.
Right. That's true. Well, one of the things that came to mind when we was talking about the Fukushima plant and this contaminated, well, the water that's supposed to be under safety, releasing this radiation or so in the ocean. What's to say about their main diet, which is fish? What does that say about the people? You know, no more sushi. You know, you can't eat raw fish. You know,
That's not going to stop them.
well, maybe not, but
That's going to stop them.
it should be a concern. It should be a concern.
It should be, but did you hear about the news in the States where now they're selling GMO salmon in the stores?
Oh, I heard that they were planning to do modified salmon farms. So they was like,
It's official.
now it's
It's
official.
in stores. Yeah, it's in stores. They can buy, genetically modified salmon.
Wow.
So I think, this, as you say, the concern should be for the people is their food supply. Not only fish, but also vegetables and fruits that they grow, especially in that area.
Exactly.
And it took them a while for them to even trust what was coming out of Fukushima. I don't know if it's trustworthy now or not, but it's something that really is not talked about,
Right.
but I think it's very concerning as well.
Right. Yes. Totally. But like you was mentioning, not to cross over so soon, but like you mentioned, this scenario with there seem to be stagnant view or a view of not of a concern dealing with all these issues that will affect the community and people in the future, now and in the future. They're more focused on financial, like this Olympic. The lockdown is still continuing to the end of the month, and that's right around the corner from July. So how are they planning to have everyone locked down, I guess, get everyone vaccinated or as many people as possible, and still able to open up and have the Olympics? It seemed like a fantasy or a dream, pipe dream per se. Yeah.
You know, since you brought up the Olympics, you know that the women's Australian softball team landed in Japan,
Right.
and it's a celebration for that area where I think they're in Gifu, I think.
Right. Gifu.
But I don't know if you caught it or not, but there's an African team that was supposed to come to Japan also, and the city where they were going, they said they're canceling the sponsorship for them to be there.
Was canceled.
They're not welcoming them as the city is not welcoming them as the city of where they have sponsorship for them to train. So they're not allowed to come.
Really?
Yeah, they let the Australians in, but the Africans, they said no.
Mm.
And I can't remember off the top of my head now where it was here and what African country is coming. But yeah, that was the Billboard news was the Australian team was coming to Japan. They're going to be the first international team or international group of athletes to come into Japan to start training. But then in the small fine print, it was an African team who was supposed to come roughly around the same time.
Mm.
The Japan hosting city said no, they don't want them to come because they worry about the infections being spread in their city, and they want to be able to get their city virus under control.
So they want to keep their city virus free and under control, and they believe
Yes.
that these Africans will contaminate the city.
Well, I'm not sure if that's what they believe, but it's kind of sound like that is. It has something to do with it. That's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, it does sound like that. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's what they believe, but it sounds like. But I mean, in all honesty, there's what 9 prefectures in lockdown now,
Right.
and Tokyo is one of the 9. So all 9 prefectures should feel the same way, in my honest opinion. And Tokyo should be like, hey, we're in lockdown right now. We have to reconsider holding the Olympics.
Right.
Because they're talking about they won't be finished vaccinating the elderly generation until the end of July, which is right in time for the Olympics. Now that has nothing to that's not including people 65 and below.
Right.
But because they are now opening up all these mass vaccination centers, I guess the plan is just to open the door and let any and everybody in from 12 and up.
Wow.
That's what I guess that's how they're going to try to increase the vaccination rate here. So even with that being the case, I don't know. They're claiming that they need 80% of the population to be vaccinated in order for the virus to, or in order for it to be herd immunity within the population.
Unless they do what the common or moral right thing should be done, is to again cancel the Olympics altogether.
Yeah, but you said it to begin with, that it's all about money. They can't cancel. If they do, then they lose money.
How much of a loss are they willing to take? That's the question.
Right. Is the money more important than the human life? This is the scale that we're looking at being presented to us. On one side, it's financial gain of the scale, and the other side, it's humanity weighing in the balance on the other side of the scale. Who's going to be victorious?
There you go. And again, I guess Hips News will have to be there to keep everybody up to date and keep posting. A quick intermission. Hips News would like to thank all our listeners and people that have subscribed and liked and even dropped comments. Vessel 2 and I, Vessel 1, would like to thank everyone for those little bit of thanks, and we appreciate it, and keep it coming.
Yes, we appreciate you, and we can see that, the viewership is increasing. Every time we drop a video, the numbers are increasing. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. If there's a topic that you would like to just have us discuss, leave it in the comments below, and we'll try to get to it as soon as possible.
There we go. A backstory, something that we said that we was gonna keep a close eye on, and Hips News, both Vessel 2 and I keep our promises. The topic that we were talking about was the Saitama man that stole underwear off the girl. Yeah, we said we were gonna make a report. Have you heard anything about that?
No, I haven't. And I checked my favorite site, the Tokyo Reporter, and I haven't seen any updates on him. But by going through the last, I guess, 2 days worth of articles, I have seen where there's a couple rapists who have not been prosecuted. So I'm still wagering that if they're not prosecuting rapists who just, flat out raped someone, then Buddy gonna get off pretty easy. But no, I haven't seen any updates on it.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. We'll see you here next week, every Wednesday. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, or leave an email. And take care, stay safe, and signing out from Vessel 1.
Vessel 2 sends peace and blessings to all those who tuned in. Make sure that you stay safe, take care of each other, and always be the best person you can be. Peace.